I'm Kamali, taking you through some of the things people are talking about and some of the stuff they're sharing around the world on Newsfeed today. Europeans vote in elections as the extent of fake news on social media in the region is exposed. We go to Gaza to hear from people affected by recent airstrikes. And animals doing stuff are animals on the run from the law. And top of our newsfeed, the EU parliamentary elections and fake news. More than 400 million citizens in Europe are eligible to vote over the next few days, and a shocking report says that hundreds of millions of them have been exposed to fake news and misinformation. Well, the campaign director for Avaaz says that Facebook isn't doing the work necessary to fight fake news. He explained to me how misinformation is being spread on the site.
So in many cases, we've seen strong coordination between different pages, often completely managed by fake accounts, duplicate accounts, and actually using similar tactics, I would say, than what the Russians have used in the US, setting up those kind of networks over years. Often starting as like a movie page or a lifestyle page, and then slowly but surely shifting, adding more and more far-right, hateful, often false content, and in the end sometimes becoming Lega pages or 5-star pages. And these are tactics not very different than what we've seen 3 years ago, but now it's mostly national actors, homegrown misinformation, often far-right groups, or even lone actors kind of thing that build up those networks within their community and get more and more people involved in quite extreme views. The main issue that we're seeing over and over again is migration. It looks like there's like a crack in our societies, and it's used very strongly to share very similar messages over and over again. Like sometimes every 20 minutes there's a new post showing migrants committing violence. Sometimes it's videos that are completely untrue or out of a movie. And so I'm not sure if Facebook has ever seen a group with 30 people working this for 3 months, delivering them so many things that they actually act upon in the end. Our feeling is once we've given them the evidence, they were eager to investigate it, do their own investigation, and act on what we've given them. But the big problem is they should have seen most of the stuff we've given them, because it's against their terms of use, not our terms of use, and we did the work for them. And what we want them to do now is, 1, do that themselves, and 2, go back to all the people that have been lied to and show them corrections from fact checkers, or tell them that the page they followed was actually fake.
Okay, let's take a look at some of the other things that caught our eye on social media. Now, Nigel Farage is scared of milkshakes. The man who has lied his way to stardom and was instrumental in getting Britons to vote themselves out of Europe refused to get off his campaign bus because some teenagers were spotted nearby holding milkshakes. Farage had a drink thrown at him earlier this week. He is the 3rd political figure who's espoused anti-migrant and anti-Islam views to be milkshaked in recent weeks in the UK. And the results are coming in from the world's biggest democratic exercise. The official vote count in India is set to last for a few days. Narendra Modi is already claiming victory, and the story is dominating Twitter. The vote was held over a month and has been marked by fake news, misinformation, and hostility towards people who are not Hindu. And there is a beef brewing in the world of esports. One of the top Fortnite players is suing his team, FaZe Clan, to try and get out of his contract. The guy called Turner Tifu Tenny says the deal is oppressive and predatory and wants to release it to the public. Now, FaZe are obviously fighting litigation, and why should you care? And online gaming is huge and much more than hockey and baseball in the United States. So if you don't care now, you will care in the future. Well, now we take you to Gaza to hear the human stories behind the headlines about airstrikes. Here are the voices of some people who've had their lives affected by recent Israeli retaliation.
كل إنسان بيكون أمنيته إنه يكون له مسكن أو بيت أو أرض أو إشي زي هيك، بيبذل كل جهده من هنا لهنا. أنا بذلت كل حياتي عامل، قعدت 29 30 سنة كمان لما قدرت أكون البيت هذا، وبيت صغير وعلى قدي عشان أعيش يعني بسرور وبهناء وبسعادة. وفي آخر الحاجة سبحان الله ربنا كرمنا اللي هو بهاللي صار هذا.
جمدت البيت هذا من أكلي ومن شربي ومن قوتي ومن لبسي أولادي ومن مصروفي الشخصي 18 سنة وأنا بعاني لغاية هذه اللحظة. يعني من حق الشقة لسه ما نسدش.
المحل هذا 13 أسرة فيه، بياكلوا وبيشربوا فيه، حياتنا كله فيه، يعني مستقبلنا كله فيه. هاي كلهم عمال هذول اللي انت شايفينهم، بناكل وبنشرب من وراهم. فجأة هيك محل كله راح.
مالك بضع ساعات منزل فيه غرفة نومك وسريرك وفرشتك ومخدتك، وبادي تعلق فيه جهاز من جهازك اللي بدك تتزوج فيه، ومعلق بدلتك ومبسوط فيها، ولحظة زر كله يروح.
من خوفي سبت كل إشي بس طلعت، لقيت أخوي آدم قاعد بعيط على الدرج، مسكته وقاعدة بزري يعني بزري فيه. لو بحكي لي طب استني يا رغد استني بدي أروح أجيب بدلتي، بحكي له يا آدم ماما تشتري لك غيرها خلاص بيعود عليها الله. لو بحكي لي لا هذه تاعت عرس أخويا عامر بدي إياها أنا بحب هالبدلة.
All right, to Saudi Arabia now, and the kingdom has announced it will execute 3 prominent scholars after Ramadan. The men have tens of millions of followers on social media and have been in custody since 2017. Well, next to the United States, where there's been a rise in hate-based killings. Take a look at this.
At this time, we have not established a direct link between these cases. We will work with our federal partners to determine if any of these offenses should be considered hate crimes.
This time, I can stand before you, whereas in other scenarios, we are at a memorial.
Okay, around the world now for some other stories you need to know this Thursday. Emissions of chlorofluorocarbons banned in the 80s are rising again, and a new study blames China. CFCs keep things cold and are used in fridges and foam, but they have the added kick of destroying the ozone layer when released into the atmosphere. Ozone protects the Earth from being burned up by UV rays. There was a massive hole in the ozone caused by CFCs, which inspired the world to get together and ban their use. It was one of the first moments of the climate crisis nearly 30 years ago. Back then, global warming was called the greenhouse effect. Anyway, China says the CFCs are still banned and they are cracking down on their illegal manufacture. The Philippines has increased the pressure on Canada, saying the North American country should take back its plastic waste or see it wash up upon its shores. Between 2013 and 2014, a Canadian company illegally dumped some plastic waste in the Philippines. The more than 100 shipping containers of rubbish were due to be taken away on the 15th of May. When that deadline was missed, Manila recalled its ambassador and other diplomatic staff from Ottawa. Canada now says the trash will be removed by the end of June. Yeah, let's see. Amazon shareholders have voted to allow the company's facial tech Rekognition to be sold to US law enforcement. There was a move by some within the company to limit its sale. It's been described as perhaps the most dangerous surveillance technology ever developed. But that didn't stop shareholders. The value of the company increased on the news. Japanese women are routinely molested on packed commuter trains, so the police there have launched an app that gives out a written warning or an audible one. The audible one repeats, "Please stop it," I guess until the button is pressed again. The app has been downloaded hundreds of thousands of times since the anti-groping alarm function was added. And Uber has revealed its latest marketing ploy, this thing which they call the Scuba. They say it's the world's first ride-sharing submarine, and it's been deployed in the Great Barrier Reef off Australia. Now, Uber had a dismal listing on the stock market recently, so anything it can do to give the brand a boost will be welcomed by the bosses. A redesigned $20 bill in the US with a former slave on, which could look like this, will now not be put into circulation until 2028. It was due to come out next year and feature the likeness of Harriet Tubman, who helped free hundreds of slaves herself in what became known as the Underground Railroad. She would have replaced a former president named Andrew Jackson, who was a slave owner. The current president of America said putting Tubman on the note was pure political correctness. The delay is over security features, apparently. And to finish, we have a couple of animal-centric stories for you, the first of which comes out of the United States.
See the dog right there trying to jump out. The dog, no, don't jump out. Dog jumped out on the ground. Stay with the dog.
All right, a woman stole a large camper van type motorhome type RV and led police on a chase in Los Angeles. As you just saw, one of her dogs managed to escape. It jumped out of the window and broke its legs. Now, the chase itself came to the kind of end these things always come to. The driver crashed, then tried to flee from the law. She did not get very far, and she was arrested with her other dog. She's now in custody, and thankfully the dogs are being cared for by animal services. And last up, it's World Sea Turtle Day. We celebrate the great marine animals and recognize the dangers they face from plastic pollution. 6 out of 7 species are at threat of extinction, so you should do all you can to stop throwing bits of plastic away. And that'll do from the Newsfeed team. Reach out to me with your questions, comments, complaints, and suggestions. You'll find me at Kamali Melbourne. You'll find us 24/7 on YouTube. Be sure to subscribe to our channel and follow me on Twitter and Instagram. Follow, subscribe, and add. See you again soon.